What a great day to start the Christmas Watercolour Along project. Look at this. It is snowing. So welcome to the Christmas Watercolour Along project. And I'm going to show you all the stuff that you need to join me in this festive Color Along series. This is the design that I made for this Christmas Watercolour Along, and it is quite a sketchy Christmas wreath, and the idea is that we are going to transfer this to watercolor paper, and then the fun can begin. Now, if you go to my Etsy web shop, you will find this template in 4 different sizes, and if you purchase the template, you will get all 4 sizes and a sheet of paper, a list of equipment that you need, but I'm going to show you the equipment right now. So this is the design, and it comes in 2 sizes. One is a small one and one is a bigger one that is printed on 2 different sheets of paper, and then you will have to tape those 2 papers together, and then you have a bigger design, so suitable for larger paintings. And I'm going for the larger painting, but if it works better for you to use the smaller, that's completely fine too. The paper that I am using in my printer is size A4. So the templates on Etsy are in size A4, but because I know a lot of people around the planet are not using A4 paper but size letter, I also added both the smaller one and the larger one as a letter. So you get in total 4 designs, all the same but different sizes. So what do you need? Of course, the template. Then watercolor paper. I am using Hanemühle Quattro. Here's the brand name, Hanemühle. This is the exact paper type, and here you can see 40 by 40 centimeters. And this is a cold pressed with a fine grain paper. This is my favorite paper. Now, the quality of the paper that you choose is important, because the better quality your paper, the better your results will be. And that is especially true for people who do not have so much experience with watercolor, like me. I've had the best results with this watercolor paper, so I stick to the Hanemühle. And you could also, if maybe you have the arch paper, arches, like many English people say, yes, English speaking people say, arches watercolor paper. That is, many people have great results. I have it too, but I like the Hanemühle even better. So then you have the paper, you printed the sheets. Then we will start with transferring the design to the watercolor paper. If you use the larger template, then you will have to tape 2 pages together, and I think you need tape anyway. for taping down the printed sheet. So for tracing we need a soft graphite pencil. I am using 4B, and then I'm also using a pretty hard red colored pencil, and in this case I am using Derwent Pro Color, and you can use any brand you want, but the harder the pencil the better. And well, this Pro Color pencil just happens to be here on my desk because I just received it. It's new, so that's why it's fresh on the table. Then after transferring everything, I may use a harder graphite pencil, 4H, to clean things up. And to clean things up, I also have this kneaded eraser. So it's a soft eraser. I'm not sure yet. It all depends on how well the tracing goes, if I need these two things, the pencil and the kneaded eraser. But I think I will have to use them. And then after that everything is done, then the painting is going to start. And I have a bunch of things here that are may come in hand. First of all, I'm going to use a very large brush. This is a size 24. This is the largest brush that I have. If you don't have a large brush like this, don't worry. You do not need it. But I think I'm going to use it. But you don't have to. So don't buy a terribly expensive brush. This one wasn't extremely expensive. Well, it was €9.15. So, and then I'm going to use a smaller brush. This is an angled brush. I love using it. Number 8. And if you use these traditional brushes, then you will need 2 jars of water. 2 jars of water. Now there's another type of brush, and I'm sure you've heard of it. The Waterbrushes, with the water here in the reservoir. I'm going to use these as well. I cannot predict how many times I will use the water brush and how many times I will use the traditional brushes. I don't know. So maybe I won't use one of them at all, but I will use several. I hope I will use several water brushes. This is a Pentel. I have a couple of them. I have 3 of them, from a very fine tip to a larger tip. But if you have only one, that's good. And I'm also going to use, I think, my Caran water brush, just because it works so well for me. So I have 4 water brushes here. If you have one, you are fine. So no worries. Then the paints. I'm going to use my Sennelier professional watercolor paint, and I collected a couple of colors here. I have 20 colors here and a touch of another. This is Winsor & Newton Opera Rose, and I also have a black that is not here yet. And I also have an extra red, Winsor & Newton Windsor Red. It's not here also. The paint that you use doesn't matter that much. It would be best if you use a good student grade brand. For example, Cotman. Winsor & Newton Cotman is great. It's a great student grade watercolor set. It comes in pans and in tubes, so you can choose. So you don't necessarily need these professional paints, but I'm going to use them. Now, which colors do you need? I would go for a lemon yellow. Absolutely a lemon yellow. Okay, this is my sheet. Here it is. These are the colors that I have in my set. Lemon yellow, Indian yellow, French vermilion, alizarin crimson, carmine, a rose meadow lake, dioxazine purple, ultramarine deep, phthalo blue, absolutely fantastic color, Prussian blue, forest green, phthalo green light, Payne's grey, warm sepia, raw umber, burnt umber, burnt sienna, raw sienna, and a light yellow ochre. Now, I have a couple more, as I told you. I have a Windsor red, which I don't think I will use because I have 4 reds already on my palette. Then there's this black, lamp black. Now, I don't think I will use that very much. I think I will go for the Payne's grey, but who knows. Then this one, Opera Rose. No idea if I'm going to use it this time. So these are the colors that I have in my palette. And if you can get colors that are pretty close to this, then you're fine. But sometimes the colors have different names. For example, this phthalo light green beautiful, but I have in my Cotman series, look, there is a sap green that looks like it, and a darker one, the forest green, it's called Viridian Hue over here. It's not exactly the same color, but it comes close to that. So don't stress out on the exact colors. Just make sure you have a very light yellow. Lemon yellow is very good. Then make sure you have a dark yellow or light orange. Then 1 or 2 reds are fine, 1 or 2 blues, 1 or 2 greens, a gray or a black, a darker brown and a lighter brown, and you're fine. There's something else that may come in hand, and that is an extra palette to mix your colors. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it a lot because I found that I prefer mixing the colors right on the paper, but you never know. So I'll keep this, it's a breakfast plate, and I'll keep it close by. Now, this is it when it comes to the preparations. So now we can start. Let's just start. Why not? And I'm going to use the larger template, so the one that is printed on 2 sheets. So I'm going to tape these 2 together. I'm trying to be as precise as possible, but if it's not completely right, that's not a problem. This is all sketchy, and I can always change things later on. That's the fun with the graphite pencil. You can erase and improve things. Let's see. Here is a piece of tape. Now, this is actually not so handy. What the better thing I can do, if still get it off, is to put the tape in an area where I don't have to trace. Do you see that? The ink is coming off the paper. Now I will tape the back as well. Again, in an area where I don't have to trace. So on the sides. Look, the snow is it's starting to stay. First it was a little bit too warm and it was melting away. But in a couple of hours everything will be white. And then the temperature will rise again, the weather forecast says, and then everything will be gone. So I will now turn the design upside down. Now I am lucky, I can see the ink lines right through the paper. But maybe you cannot, because your paper is a little bit thicker. If you cannot see through, then you will have a little bit more work than I do, because the idea is that I will now cover all these lines with my soft graphite pencil. If you have tracing paper, you could also use tracing paper. Now this is a bit of a boring thing, but I have to say this is important. This is really, really important. So take your time for this, and if you do this right, precise is the right word, then the painting fun will be so much more. Now here, these are the, what is it, how do you see, from a pine tree. I'm not going to draw all the separate needles, we say needles, to all those small, I'm just doing the outside lines. I can hear children outdoors, they love the snow. What a coincidence. I'm starting the Christmas Watercolour Along and snow's falling from the sky. We have snow every year, a couple of times. But it's not extremely common in the Netherlands. Well, the temperatures are mostly too high for snowfall to not melt. So when it snows, it's white for a couple of hours, and then everything melts away. And that is sometimes I wish it would just stay here for a week or even longer. So we have time to drive to the woods and enjoy winter scenes in the woods. But most of the time, just like this one, today we do not have time to go to the woods because later this day, tonight, we will be singing Christmas songs in the great cathedral of Dordrecht. I will make a couple of short video. I will make a video for you from that beautiful cathedral. I will show you. So there's no time to go to the woods, because that is more than an hour drive. And tomorrow all the snow will be gone. And tomorrow it is Monday. So everybody will have to work again. So me too, my husband too. So no winter wonderland. Sometimes I wish snow would last a little longer, but in a couple of weeks we will be going for a ski trip to Austria. And we can enjoy the snow over there. Now it is important that you trace every line, or as many lines as possible, because if you forget something, and you will have to sketch it in yourself, and I always find that nerve-wracking. My sketching skills, I am not so convinced that they are good enough. So when I need to do sketching, it always takes a lot of time. Makes me nervous. And I did enough sketching already with this design, I think. So I will try to do it, to get as many lines as possible. This line should not be here. We can test the kneaded eraser. Does this work? Well, I think it's better to use a different type of eraser for this particular task, but well. When the tracing is completely done and the design is transferred on the watercolor paper, you could also do an extra step and inking all the lines. If you feel like you might lose track of the design, ink lines might help you to keep on track and see where you're going. The downside of that is that black ink lines will always be visible. So I am trying this time to do it without the ink lines. Now if you make a mistake or it doesn't look so good, your tracing, don't worry, because watercolor is a very loose and free medium. You can use it very precisely, but also very freely. And in this project I'm going to try to use it very freely. So a couple of lines that are not completely right, it really doesn't matter that much. This is going to be tricky. I'm not sure if that will be transferred to the paper, but well, we'll fix that later. When it snows, the sounds start to change. I always like that sound of a snowy landscape. All the sounds are muted a little bit. Love it. We're going great.